Welcome to our S&OP Ask the Expert series.
Doug, today's question is, how do I get my executive engaged in S&OP?
This is a super important question, and it comes to us from an S&OP coordinator. This is someone who's implementing S&OP at their company and really struggling with getting the executive in the room for the executive S&OP presentation. S&OP, executive S&OP, is an executive management process. If the executive's not in the room, it's really hard for it to be an executive management process. And so it's really important to figure out, so why aren't they? Why aren't they involved in this? And for me, it kind of comes down to one of two reasons. The first one, it's not clear to them that they should be or need to be. And the second one is that maybe they understand they need to be there, but the process just really isn't working for them. And so, as such, they don't get involved. It's important to understand the why piece and really then apply the right fix, if you will, to get that executive involved. So, if it's not clear that they should be or need to be involved in the process, I usually start right here when I'm working with companies, because really that question is something you can ask the executive. Like, you've got an executive S&OP process, or you're getting one started. Do you really know what you want to get as far as the outcomes out of that? Like, what are you expecting to get out of the process? And starting there kind of helps to gauge really the understanding what they need to get out of it. And this really usually involves some education for that executive. Most executives know how to run their business, but they may not be up to speed on what a good S&OP process looks like. So that's one of the real important things, because if that executive is not there leading the process, we're going to really have a challenge, because they're the only person that can balance the demand and supply and really hold the people in their business accountable for each part of the plan so that they can be accountable for the business results. So, do they understand and expect the process to deliver results? Is the process clearly defined? Have you defined the outputs? Have you defined accountability? Have you defined responsibility? And it's part of this is actually educating the executive on the process, on those outcomes, so they know what they should be able to expect and therefore know what their role is in that. This often does require some outside coaching. So that's really the first one, if it's not clear to them that they need to be. The second one is the current process isn't working for them. They understand they need to be involved, but they're frustrated. Like, it's just not working. And if this is the case, this is something you kind of have to look a little bit more internally, because that really is the responsibility of the organization to provide a process that works for the senior executive. So often this comes down to they don't see value in the executive S&OP meeting. People aren't coming prepared. The meeting's way too detailed. It's the kind of things the executive's really expecting to have answered kind of on a day-to-day basis. Why do we have to come back into an executive meeting and discuss the same things over and over again? The other one is, in that meeting, there's really no clear story of what's happening and what actions and decisions are required. I can tell you there's many times I've talked to executives where they come out of the executive meeting and I say, so what happens now? And they say, well, I'm not entirely clear on what they were presenting to me. Or we had 3 different stories there, and now I got to seek clarification afterwards. So they get frustrated, they end up not coming to the meetings. The other part about that is there's no accountability for delivering the results out of the meetings. This is kind of a tough question, because I often turn that back on the executive. Have you actually assigned that accountability? But often in our presentation, we haven't actually broken that down. Often the executive will know it's not working, but they don't actually know what must happen to make it work. And once again, this is something where you often have to get a little bit of outside help to do that. So if your executive's not involved, you kind of need to start in one of two places. Understanding why. Is it that they don't understand the process and you need to focus on some education and really level setting as to what does the process do, or you have a process and it's not working for that executive, then you need to actually sit down with that executive and go through why it's not working. As I said, it often comes down to the structure of that executive meeting. And I've covered this in other videos, but it's about doing this family by family, having the data available ahead of time, and then having those that are accountable presenting the data. This is such an important question. It's one of the big things that a lot of companies struggle with, getting that executive to the process. And if you don't answer this question, you're not going to be unlocking all the value you can get out of the S&OP process. So hopefully you found this helpful. We'll see you in the next video. If you have any other questions, feel free to send them to us. And until then, have a great day. Thanks for watching today's video. Subscribe to our channel for more on implementing S&OP. You can learn more about how DBM can take your process to the next level by visiting our website, www.dbmsys.com. Thank you and take care.